can start record. Yeah, thank you. So we're still admitting more students join us. So let's wait for just 1 more minute. And meanwhile, I encourage you to use the chat box to say hi and share with us who you are, because we have a lot of new students from cohort 22. Thank you. Thank you for turning on your camera so we can see you. And a quick announcement here. For tonight's events, we'll start like 20 to 25 minutes conversation with our guest speakers from Amazon, and then followed by like 10 to 15 minutes Q&A. And throughout the whole conversation, and you're welcome to share your questions in the chat box, and then I can either read the questions for you, or you can unmute yourself to ask questions directly. And then after the Q&A, we'll set up like a small group, small breakout rooms, so you can further interact with Comm alumni who works at Amazon in small groups. I think this is the largest First Friday that we ever have, with 113 students from cohort 22. So in the chats, I see students from cohort 18, alumni from 18, cohort 18, and current students from cohort 22, 21. Welcome everyone. Okay, I think we're ready to start. Oh, I see Jacob. Hi, Jacob. Thanks for joining us. Welcome everyone to Comm Lead October First Friday with Amazon, and welcome students from cohort 22. I am Liao Zhao, the head of outreach at Comm Lead. For our new students who might not be very familiar with this event, I want to share with you that every first Friday, we organize this like a network event with a key organization. And throughout the whole year, we'll feature organizations like tech companies, PR agencies, media group, and we get to hear about people who work there. So you will be able to have like a deep understanding of the professional landscape in our region, and also get to meet key professionals and recruiters. And for this First Friday event, we're very, very excited to feature Amazon. As you know that we have quite a few like Comm Lead alumni and students, they work there and do communication, marketing, and design work. And today we invite some of them to join us as guest speakers. And we also have their recruiter to join us. So let me introduce them one by one. They are Mallory Cobb, senior recruiter at Amazon Global Corporate Affairs. Alan Lim, communication manager at Amazon Benefits. Cici Wang, product marketing manager at Amazon Social Marketing. And Isuma Zoe Okeleke, global media specialist at Amazon. Welcome everyone, welcome. So how about like we start by asking our guest speakers, like if you could tell us more about yourselves, your roles, and what do you do for your work? Maybe we can start with Mallory.
Hi, thank you guys for having me. So my name's Mallory, and I'm a client recruiter here for GCA, which stands for Global Corporate Affairs. And we focus on hiring for public relations, communications, and public policy positions all across the country. I specifically focus mainly on PR roles that fall under the global media and entertainment world. So like publicists, PR specialists, managers, and other related positions that would fall under the studios or media entertainment side of things. I'm based in Maryland. And I've been here for about a year. So I'm excited to join today. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Mallory. Cici, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I can go next. Hi, everyone. My name is Cici Wang. I'm from cohort 15. I'm really excited to see Jacob here because we're from the same cohort. And I've been at Amazon for 2 years. I'm a product marketing manager at the social marketing team. It's pretty self-explanatory. We do like social marketing for Amazon. And we are one of the central marketing and traffic teams within Amazon. And it's a performance marketing channel. So we're focused on like automated advertising programs that drive efficiency at scale worldwide. We also identify and experiment with new channels like TikTok, Snapchat, and all of those in all countries to find new opportunities to scale advertising. Really nice to be here. Thanks. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Cici. Elaine?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Eileen and I'm from Singapore. I'm from cohort 20, so I'm very happy. I'm very excited to see all of you. I think you've joined the right program, and I'm responsible for communication. So I'm the global comms manager for Amazon Benefits, responsible to bring the benefits to our associates, especially the fulfillment center associates, about 84,000 associates across about 900 fulfillment centers. And for me, it's a very meaningful job. And yeah, I'm so happy to be here and to share my learnings with you, and how to get to Amazon or anything that could help you. So feel free to reach out.
Thank you. Isuma?
Yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Isioma Okeleke. I'm from Nigeria. Now I'm a bit confused whether I'm cohort 19 or 20, but it's one of them. It feels like a long time ago. So I'm pretty new to Amazon. This is my 5th month at Amazon, and I work as a media strategist with a cross-channel, cross-category marketing team. We call XCM for short. And what my team does, my team is responsible for managing advertising campaigns for Amazon corporate. So all of our Prime Day, back to school, off to college advertising you see in the media, my team is responsible for that. So thanks for the opportunity to be with you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Mallory, probably now I can turn it over to you. If you want to turn on your camera to talk about Amazon, different team. Are you there, Mallory? Oh, yeah, great.
Yep, I'm here.
Talk about like different team and recruiting process, as well as what students could add to their resume and how they could prepare themselves in different opportunities. Your time to share the screen.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So yeah, let me just share my screen. So if everybody can just let me know if you are able to see my screen, okay? Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So yeah, so I know I already introduced myself, so we can just kind of skip right by that. So today we're going to just talk a little bit about Amazon, some teams and opportunities, and then different ways that you guys can stay connected. So I wanted to include this first. This is Amazon's mission, is to be Earth's most customer-centric company. And I feel like it was important to put this in just because everything we do at Amazon comes back to this. Customer obsession is one of our leadership principles. And so it's very important to just kind of keep this at the forefront. So I wanted to put this in here first. And tying into that, so these are actually the rest of our leadership principles. So I'm not sure if anyone here is familiar with the Amazon leadership principles, but they're really important to remember, especially if you do end up interviewing with us, because everybody here is assessed on almost all of these, if not all of them, during the interview process. So customer obsession, you'll see that one here again. Ownership, earn trust, bias for action. These are all really important characteristics that we look for when we are hiring, employees. So this plays into the interview questions. So if you do go to an interview, most of the interview questions are going to be behavioral style based, which basically sounds like, tell me about a time when you did this, or give me an example of a time when this happened. So I always recommend candidates to have very specific examples that they can really draw from. And each person is going to be assessing you on usually like one or two of these LPs. So for example, if you're being assessed asked on customer obsession. They might ask, tell me about a time you went above and beyond for a customer or a client, or something like that. So just something to start thinking about when you are, preparing or, thinking about applying. This is definitely going to come up. In regards to opportunities, so obviously we are a global company, so we have positions, all across, the country as well as the world. And so it's important for Amazon to represent, we have customers, across all different backgrounds. And so that's important for us to, have that as well when we are hiring candidates or employees. And so a lot of that also ties into affinity groups. So I don't know if anyone here is familiar with those, but this is actually a really cool way that they incorporate ways for you to actually interview us during your interview process. So these are not official interviews. So as part of your interview process, you are able to choose if you want to have a candid chat, which is what they call it, with somebody maybe from one or more of these affinity groups that we have here. All of these groups, they put on events throughout the year, lots of different really cool activities. So it's really helpful if you are coming in. I know for me, I wanted to talk to someone, from the Women at Amazon group coming in just to kind of get that perspective. And again, it's definitely more candid and casual. It's not an official interview or anything like that. It's more just for a way for you to kind of find out about different affinity groups on Amazon. So GCA, which is, again, as I mentioned earlier, just the specific team that I support or I work on. So we are made up of public policy as well as public relations teams. And so again, it's global, so it spans, all across the world. And we do have a few different teams that we support. So I think I mentioned earlier that I specifically support the global media and entertainment world, but a lot of members on my team support everything else. So we hire for PR positions for AWS. Corp comms is a huge portion of what we hire for. Devices and retail, if you think about, Amazon Echo or Amazon Fire, reputation and content strategy. If you ever see like a big news story come out about Amazon, we're usually the team that, is trying to come up with a PR, story or kind of giving like Amazon side of the story as well. So that's a big part of it as well. And then executive, financial, and advertising communication. So kind of just depends on like what you're looking to focus on. Maybe if you're more technologically inclined, maybe you might have more of a preference for maybe like a PR role focusing on AWS or devices, or maybe you have a more inclination towards like entertainment. So just kind of depends. One thing to note for the entertainment side, most of those roles are going to be based in LA or New York. So you just kind of have to either be in those locations or be open to that. I know many of you are in Seattle, so just something to note for those. So virtual interview prep. So after this call, I will send out a few different links with this video as well as a few other things we talk about. But basically, this is kind of just some things that I mentioned earlier. So, when you are prepping for your interviews, everything is virtual right now. So the loop will be virtual. Which in a lot of ways, I feel like, at least me personally, I kind of like that better. I think you are able to prepare and you can have a sheet of notes, next to you or something. So a couple of things to keep in mind. You want to, of course, test out everything, making sure it's working correctly. Common sense that, things, make sure you're in a quiet environment, you have good lighting. But other things that are really important, so the leadership principles I mentioned earlier, you're going to want to sit down and think of those specific examples that at least tie to, at least have one for each of those LPs. You're also going to want to have your answers ideally in the STAR method. So the STAR method stands for situation, task, action, result. It doesn't have to be exact, but as long as your answers kind of flow in that way, it will help your answer to be very concise. So here's what was going on, here's what I had to do, here's what I actually did, and then here's the result from that situation. So it just kind of helps hit like all the points that you need to in the time that you're given. But yeah, so that's kind of the main points for, virtual prep. So how do you get your resume even noticed, like at the first part? So this is important. So obviously we see lots and lots of resumes, every day, every week, we look at hundreds of resumes. So there's a couple of different things to keep in mind. This YouTube video is actually really fun. If you have some time, take a look at it. I'll include the link after, but it kind of just goes over some important things to make your resume stand out. So a couple of things from the video. You want to tailor your resume to the job that you're applying to. So don't just use the same resume for every single job that you're applying to. Like try to really incorporate, okay, what's on the job description? What are some keywords that, I have experience with for this specific job that I can incorporate into my resume? You want to try to keep it to a page. So I obviously right now at this point in your career, if you have 10 plus years, then definitely more than a page. But I would say really try to keep it to a page ideally. Try to keep the format simple, something that's very straightforward and easy to read. Try to show actionable results on your resume. So if you have any sort of specific metrics or, any sort of data, that can be really helpful. And then proofread, that's pretty straightforward, but maybe just have like a second person take a look at it. It can't hurt. And then I always say, just try to save it in both a PDF and a Word version, because a lot of times applicant tracking systems might skew your formatting, especially if you submit it as a Word. So if you submit it as a PDF version, it won't, change the format. And then keep it as a Word so you can continue just to update that, on a regular basis. And then just stay connected to us. So of course, we're on all the socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, of course. And then we also have our blog, which I will send the link as well, that has all the news about different things we're working on and different, cool projects. So yeah, so that's all for me. Any questions?
Okay, if you have any questions, feel free to add it in the chat box and we can answer your questions during the Q&A. Yes, and you can also hands up and if you have any questions. Yeah, thank you, Mallory, for sharing the really valuable tips about resume and about interviews. So maybe now we can turn it back to Ellen, Cici, and Isuma to let you share about something that you're currently doing at Amazon. So how about like you start share like an exciting project or big project that you're working on? This time maybe we can start with Isuma.
Can you all hear me? Okay, good. When I coming into the XCM team, I started working on like a Prime Day campaigns. I actually work on two big rocks. We call them big rocks, like their business priorities for Amazon. One which is Prime, and the other which has now been changed from Embrace Amazon to retail. And that typically is your back to school, off to college, and the holiday campaigns. And so partnering with our agencies, because we have our agency partners, there was some, I would say, opportunities in terms of how we approach big ideas, and big ideas for us at in the XCM team, and is really about what's new in the media space, what's new to Amazon, or what it could also mean, what media spaces are we currently, leveraging? Are there new technologies, in those spaces that we can actually tap into and expand, reach our customers with our communication? And so an opportunity I identified probably two months ago while working on the two big rocks preparing for both Prime Day and, the holiday campaign is, what that process looks like. And this was also me, looking at it from both an internal and an external perspective. So internal being how do we manage our process internally? Because I noticed that there were some kind of pushbacks from our creative teams, because some of those big ideas actually required, they had heavy lifts from a creative perspective. And the creative team, it was kind of tight for them to meet up with those timelines. And so working on this big ideas process doc is how do we ensure going forward that, all stakeholders, are carried along in advance, and we are able to actually leverage, new technologies for our campaigns. And so I'm currently partnering with our agency. Rufus is the agency we work with. They're based in LA. I'm partnering with them to, come up with that framework. It's like a blueprint, something to guide all the teams, both the media team. I'm on the XCM media team. And we have the XCM creative teams, you have the program managers, and something to guide everyone to say, okay, when we are thinking about big ideas, this is how we approach it. These are the timelines we should be looking at, depending on what that big idea actually entails. Some of them, don't require that much lift, while some actually require it. So that's what I'm currently working on at the moment. And I'm excited because I'm reviewing the first draft of that doc, which once I've established what that looks like for us and our agency partners, I would build out the internal doc, so yeah, that's what I'm working on, the big ideas process doc.
Thank you for sharing, Suma. Cici, how about your current project or exciting project?
Yeah, actually my team is like the counterpart of the Suma's team. You're on XCM, I'm on the social marketing team. Is more performance marketing. So it's about like execution, ROI, seeing like revenue from our scaled advertising programs. So I also have those big events coming up. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. There's the second Prime Day coming up next week for Prime members. It's called Prime, like early access sale or something. It's October 11 and 12. So we're getting ready for that. Running advertising programs for key businesses that we partner with. So including like fashion, home, like Amazon devices, like Echo and all of that. And after that, there will be like Q4, it's a lot of promotions. So there'll be Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So definitely focusing on executing all those campaigns and ensure our efficiency targets and within the guardrails. But on top of that, we're also focused on exploring other opportunities and experimenting with like new channels or new strategies like targeting, segmentations, diverse creatives. And that's the fun part. Like I'm currently working on getting more influencer videos for TikTok. So we can have those more like diverse content portfolio for the customers, and especially for the new customers for Amazon. Like if you don't have Amazon app, or you haven't shopped at Amazon before, which is hard to imagine, I know, in the US, and then you want to see something more compelling, like storytelling, and maybe a video of influencers demonstrating how to use the product, and what will it look like when you have it in your place and things like that. So so that's something exciting I'm exploring for the holiday and campaigns.
Yeah, look forward to see your new holiday campaign. Thank you.
Yeah,
Cece.
maybe you guys will see it in the wild. Who knows?
Yeah,
If
let
we're
us know.
targeted.
Yeah, Elaine, your project, please.
Yeah, hi everyone, and thanks CC for sharing. Because I'm in Amazon Benefits, so my customers, like the people I serve, are the employees, and it's very close to my heart, especially the fulfillment center employees. They work so hard. I buy almost everything off Amazon, and I believe most of you do as well. So the challenge is, how to help them know their benefits, like health, medical, financial, for example. And there's this event like once a year. It's called Open Enrollment, where employees get to enroll and enroll into their benefits. And so it's my responsibility, our team's responsibility, to ensure that the right information gets disseminated to our sites. It reaches our employees through the best way. So one of the things I did was to create like a database of all our sites, because it's pretty challenging. Like it's very complex, and it takes a lot of initiative and kind of flexibility as well, and moving fast to compile and get the information, working with different teams. It's almost like a startup, yet we are given like the empowerment to do the best we can, and that's very empowering to me. And we managed to increase like the distribution from, initially it was only like about 280 sites, and we increased it to about 890 this year, and reaching to about 85,000 employees. And we have also discovered that a lot of employees who do not know their benefits well are those who do not speak English. They might not be very well educated. So we've also introduced like materials in various languages, in Spanish especially, and I'm responsible for the like coordination of the materials, to ensure that they get to the information. Yeah, and to me this is really meaningful, and it's very close to my heart. So I'm very happy to be in this role. And one thing I'd like to share about working at Amazon is that, when I was hired as a branding specialist, because that's what I used to do when I was in Singapore. I was doing comms for 10 years. But so one advice: just keep an open mind, like to whatever challenges that comes up, or whatever opportunities that come up. When they give you an opportunity, to just think, okay, why not, let me try. Although it sounds difficult, or you might hear people say, oh, that's impossible, um, this has not been done before, but just keep an open mind and accept the challenge, and you might be surprised, you might do it. So, and the impact, what you see here, you can really see the impact, and these are real people with real issues. So that's it's really meaningful to me. So I welcome anyone who wants to join our team. Please, yeah, look out for the job opportunities, or even reach out to me. I'm very happy to share my experience. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Elaine. This is a really good example, really good project. You're not only making impact for Amazon people who work in Seattle, but also especially for people like who are international from different places in different languages. That's really awesome. So maybe we can talk about like any tips for our students that you have if they are interested in joining your team or other teams at Amazon. Mallory, what is your tips? Things you have been a recruiter for a long time.
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is really trying to make your resume stand out, like I said earlier, just because we do get candidly so many resumes, as you guys can probably imagine. So I think it's important to really be intentional when you're applying, and not just spam your resume out to tons and tons of jobs, kind of using the same resume. You want to really target that resume. So you want to really read the job description, tailor that resume, make sure it lines up, and then, apply. And then really just use your contacts too. So as everyone else mentioned, I'm happy to be a contact. If you guys connect with me on LinkedIn, if you do apply to something, feel free to follow up with me. We do go by the requisition numbers, which are all listed on each job application or job description. So if you send me the job ID number, I can take a look and see what the status is. Even if it's something that I'm not necessarily working on, I can maybe look into it or just kind of let you know where things sit. So happy to do that for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Cece, do you have any tips for our students?
Yeah, I think we kind of talked about this before, like Amazon interview is unique because it has like all the leadership principles that you're assessed based on, and you also want to map like your work experience examples back to those leadership principles. And that's really like important for me, like from my like perspective, because when you interview at other companies, you might just to talk about your past work experience, like a couple examples. But for interview at Amazon, you really want to demonstrate those leadership principles. So when you prepare for interviews, you want to like just do an extra step to map like your stories, examples back to those leadership principles. I think that has been really helpful for me, because a lot of the most of the interviews like for Comm, like marketing people, they're all like behavioral based. So there's like no technical interviews. So it's really about sharing your past experience and how you tell the story in a way that shows you can demonstrate Amazon leadership principles. So that I think that's a key thing for me. Another thing is, I think when you, going back to what Mallory said, like when you apply those jobs, make sure experience is relevant and you tailor your resume to the job that you're applying for. And even though, let's say like you want to transition from like brand marketing to like performance marketing, and you like apply something like you want to say that, but like within Amazon, because the company is big, you can always like transition teams and there are different opportunities. So like when you apply, you want to make sure your past experience is relevant. And then when you're in, you can like feel free to transition and explore other opportunities. And everyone at Amazon, I feel like are super supportive of you exploring other things. So that's something I'm thinking about, because every time you change job or you apply to a new job, you have a shift in mind. You're like, oh, I want to do something different, so I want to apply to like an entire new job category, and that might be hard because it's not relevant to your past experience. Yeah, so those are the two main tips I have.
Thank you. Thank you. Isuma?
I mean, Mallory and Cece have, mentioned 2 points that were top of mind for me. But just to I would say reinforce, leveraging your networks, it's really important. And I would say I had that opportunity. Ellen, who is also on the panel, was a great resource for me as I prepared, for my interview at Amazon. So leverage your network. And while to Cece's point about, your narrative being your professional experience, mapping to the leadership principles, it is so important. And I would give a tip, that, I mean, it just came to me while I was, preparing for my interview. And I asked, maybe as you're preparing for your interview, it's okay to ask the recruiter what the leadership principles, the leadership principles that will be of focus for your role, because it's not all of the leadership principles that you would be interviewed, your questions will be, would be related to. So it's like, what are the focus leadership principles for this role? I got those. I got about 6 of them, and I was not disappointed at the main interview, because it helped me to really prepare my narrative, all of the projects I'd worked on in the past, and just weave in those principles, in that narrative. Another tip that I would give, it might seem uncommon, but it's applying the leadership principle of learn and be curious. and learn and be curious even while you're being interviewed. So asking questions, I mean, I always see interviews as it's two-way, right? It's not just you being interviewed. You also want to know more about the team, know more about the organization's culture. You know, I mean, Amazon has an amazing culture, and like Cici said, there's Amazon empowers. That's the word. Amazon, your teams empower. You're empowered in Amazon to actually just, you know, explore different interests. You know, whatever that looks like for you. So yeah, learn and be curious. Ask questions as much as possible, and leverage your networks to as you prepare for your interviews. So I'm also available to support, you know, everyone with that. I have a link to my team's job portal where their current roles. I just wanted to chip in as at today, my role actually changed. My role has evolved from a media strategist role to a programmatic buyer role. And, you know, that's a new turf for me, but I'm excited to like dive in and, you know, make the best out of that role. So, yeah.
Thank you, Isioma. Ellen, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, I feel that my fellow Amazonians have done such a good job. I can just like sit back and well, I'm just also reading like some of the questions that pop up in the
Yeah,
chat box that we're gonna like
move
address them
into the
later, right?
Q&A. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So if there are some like some pointers I like to share is just to keep to stay positive because the experience may be a bit daunting. You may get a lot of failures. Well, I interviewed maybe I think I only succeeded in my third attempt. So I kind of failed 3 times. So it's okay to get rejections. You know, just keep trying and show your personality, like show your passion, and kind of be yourself. Let your personality shine. At the same time, well, do your homework. So prepare for the role. The leadership principles are super important. It's highly emphasized. The STAR method. So what I did was I prepared an Excel sheet of the STAR method and the examples, but which you wouldn't have time to use during the interviews. But for me, it's hard work. Well, prepare, ensure that it's in your head. Embody the leadership principles, find the real examples, and then just be yourself and be confident because we need people that who takes initiative, who is open to challenges, who's a good communicator, and all of these are in the leadership principles. And well, yeah, that's it.
Thanks, Ellen. Okay, so we're gonna move into the Q&A, and I'm gonna start with the questions on the chat. So I'm gonna read about a question that Ray made, so everyone knows about that. They said, how long is considered a new grad for when applying for new grad position at Amazon? And to that, Mallory said, if you graduated less than 12 months ago or are about to complete a bachelor's or master's degree. I think that's really useful to know. Okay, moving on. We have a question for Cici from Matthew saying, what are the key skills, technical, that are required of a role such as product marketing manager?
Yeah, I answered in the chat box, but it really depends because PMM is a very broad job title for a variety of jobs, and it belongs it depends on what teams you're in. So I'm on the central marketing team, but if you're working on like a specific business team, maybe you need to have that experience, maybe like for Prime Video or like Amazon Music, like entertainment experience or like devices experience. So that might be required. And it really depends on the role you apply for. And usually the job description will have the like requirements, and that's from the hiring team. I think that's going to be most helpful for you.
Thanks, Cece. Okay, the next one is, could you please, okay, if for the UI UX jobs, is there any specific tool which is important, or the how the portfolio looks is what matters more? I don't know if maybe Mallory could help with this one.
No, so I don't work with, I work with the communications and PR type positions. So unfortunately, no, but I can definitely look into it and get back to you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the next one is, on the Amazon job application portal, I saw candidates can upload new questions, new documents, or profile after the application. So if we re-upload the resume, will it be replaced automatically?
Yep. Yeah, so if you upload that, then it uploads into your profile. You can also send it to your recruiter and they can make sure to put it in there too. So either one.
Okay, thank you. Next one says, wondering if can I apply for the same job twice at Amazon if I have not heard back or get rejected the first time?
No, so there isn't a way to apply to the same job twice. If you do get rejected, unfortunately, then it just, that's just is what it is. But yeah, there isn't a way to apply twice, unfortunately.
Okay. Next one says, I have a question regarding the cool-off period for Amazon. How long should one wait to reapply for Amazon after being rejected previously? Because I recently checked the application requirement in Amazon Japan. If the applicants fail to make it into the interview before, Amazon will not accept their applications in the future. I don't know if it's the same in Amazon US.
Yeah, so I always recommend everybody just to continue applying because as long as the manager and the other interviewers are open to it, there really isn't a set time. And it also just depends on the role, and especially if it's in a whole different team or department. So I would say, definitely still continue to apply for sure.
Thanks. Next one from Nivedita is there any specific time when internship positions open? When should one apply for internship positions starting summer 2023?
Yeah, so my team, sometimes we have internship positions. Most of our roles are full-time, but I do know for student programs, they typically recommend the end of summer, beginning of fall. So they start looking like a full, pretty much year ahead of time. So I would start around there.
Okay, great. This one's for Cici. Says, understanding that product marketing is different at every company, what does your day-to-day look like? Also, what would you say are some skills that more junior product marketers should focus on developing to become a more well-rounded product marketer in the future?
Yeah, I think a product marketing manager is really like a hybrid role. You're like sitting between marketing, sales, advertising, and a little bit PR, also like positioning, messaging. So I think you want to be well-rounded and a generalist from the beginning, like especially when you're a junior. But you also want to like specialize in a specific field. So for me, I'm on social marketing. So I like digital advertising, like how to leverage social channels to run ads, but it can be different things. So it can be like search for you, or like different type of, so maybe you can do like targeting where like a specific area that you're really interested in, like product positioning. So you can write go-to-market strategies and things like that. So I think it's really hybrid. Like in the beginning, you want to know like the whole process, like the whole funnel, like from the upper to the lower funnel, like how does it work? But then like, as you actually have like internships or like work experience, you will probably started to gather experience in specific areas. So either like you were in charge of doing all the digital advertising campaigns, or you're doing more like blog posts type of thing, like content marketing. So it's, and from there you can search for the roles that are more relevant to your experience. And I think product marketing manager right now, it's like an umbrella term that really like you're gonna wear so many different hats. And the good thing is like all your past experience can be applicable, and you can like try to use your past experience to make them relevant to your current role. And everyone comes from different experience that's also very valuable to the team. For example, like I'm good at social marketing, maybe someone else is better at search, or there's another person like who comes from like email background. So like all of those are really helpful. And I think at Amazon, like all tech companies, it's more like performance marketing. It's something like how to track your ROI, and like reporting is another big piece of that, is how to measure the success of your strategies. So if you're interested in that, like measurement and like reporting, that's another key area to focus.
Thanks, Cece. That was actually really helpful.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Okay, so I think we have a couple of minutes to ask some more questions. Go back. Okay, the next one is from Ardra. Says, I'd like to understand the role of AI tools in CV screening. What can we do to make sure that we get past that screening level?
Seems that's a question for Mallory for a screen, a resume screen.
Yeah, so again, I think the biggest thing, a lot of times, we do look at every resume. So yes, there is like, with the system that you do send it into, the applicant tracking system, but we do review, every resume that comes through. I would say just in general, not just Amazon, across the board, again, really try to line up the keywords, make sure that if there's a specific tool or, requirement that you see, make sure, of course, not exact, but make sure a lot of it is reflected in your resume. Of course, if you have that experience, but it's going to be really important because that is going to really stand out to the recruiter when they look at it, because they are a lot of times looking at so many resumes per day that, they're not spending 10 minutes on every resume. Like they are looking at that resume, trying to find the basic qualifications and then moving to the next step. So really want to have it, again, easy to read, straight to the point, and make sure you include those keywords so that they can, see what they need in that resume.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Mallory. Sounds like we answer all of the question. Is that right, Alaska?
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah, and if you have more questions, probably you can continue the conversation in our breakout rooms. Thank you, Velasca. And thank you everyone for asking great questions, and a big thank you to our guest speakers today. I know that Mallory has a tight schedule, so she has to look now because it's already almost 7 o'clock in the East Coast. But thank you, Mallory, for taking your time to speak with our community. And I believe our students have learned a lot from you. And for students, you're welcome to connect with Mallory on LinkedIn. So thank you. Have a good night, Mallory. For the rest of us, we can continue to move to the breakout rooms for the conversation. So Velasca has created 3 breakout rooms for us. So each guest speaker, like Cici, Elaine, and Isuma, will have their own room. So you can choose the one that you'd like to join or just go different breakout rooms. This is your good chance to connect and ask questions and build your network. We'll end like about 4:30. And before we close the conversation, I just want to remind you that after this event, we'll hold a networking happy hour at Berkison Brick House in Ballard. And Director Iking Yasin will also be there to join us, and we'll provide you first free drink and also sandwiches. If you don't have a car, probably you can carpool or take a Uber together with your peers. So let me end here. Thank you everyone for being part of our event today. Enjoy your conversation in the breakout rooms. I will stay in the main room just in case you need help to get into some rooms, different rooms. And Velasca, I think we can stop recording.